show you I'm a blind. I hate to say it. I've been too long. I'm glad to be back.
People think this means something other than what it really is. If you'd all join us, we'll tell you what it means. It means long live rock and roll. Put 'em up!
1980 is my pick for the most important year in the culmination and formation of the genre of metal. In my mind, and you don't have to agree with this, obviously, in my mind, 1970 was the year that metal was birthed, released from the womb. 1980 was the year that metal was finally starting to form its own personality and actually have good characteristics. For example, this year marked a formation of the scene that is the new wave of British heavy metal, which, to put that sound simply, it's Iron Maiden and Judas Priest's combination of high vocals and fast riffage. 1980 was a year of rivalry. It was a year of innovation. And for a lot of bands, stagnation because they didn't innovate. And I am gonna showcase it all today as I dive into every single album of the metal genre released this year on Spotify because I'm a lazy ass bitch. This album does literally anything but rail you. And I mean that as it's slow and boring. It's like a light penetration rather than a railing. If you want metal, this is not your stop. Despite having what is definitely the scariest album cover of the year, this is probably the least scary, intense metal you're gonna find. This is all pretty much Baby's first metal album. Despite the title track being by far the heaviest track of the year, the rest of this is just This is probably one of the cleanest produced metal albums you're gonna find from the time period. That being said, it's not fully clean because it is Def Leppard and their lyrics are a little horny. Progressions of Power is a professional case of what we call gaslighting, because Triumph does not progress here in the slightest, and there's no power to be found. Women and Children First is simultaneously one of the heaviest and lightest albums on the list, with both sounds being great, because it's Van Halen, read the title. You know, if only all metal were like Animal Magnetism, because it would be a dead genre, because this album single-handedly takes the heavy out of metal! What happens when you combine what I perceive as the shittiest vocals with the most uninspired instrumentals? You get a terrible rating! This sucks ass! With Judas Priest's other albums like Painkiller or Screaming for Vengeance, they sound badass. This one sounds lame as hell. And compared to those albums, this one is lame as hell. But it's still Judas Priest, so it's still lame as hell while simultaneously being badass. Fun fact, the character on Iron Maiden's debut album is actually a depiction of a Christian parent's first reaction to heavy metal music off their son's stereo, because they cannot handle the pure metal bliss Iron Maiden have conjured up here. It feels so weird having incredible vocals, intense speed, and a positive atmosphere on a Black Sabbath album. Oh no, that's the Aussie fans! The mortal enemies at the time of punk and metal combine here to create pure gas. They cooked. Wheels of Steel is an album that sounds handcrafted for edgy 80s British bikers, which is perfect, because that's pretty much Saxon's fan base anyways. Les riffs déchirants, which means the riffs rip in French, which I did because this is a French album. So I was joking about never mind. This is legitimately the most generic and bland hard rock / metal album I have ever heard. That being said, it's a well-played kind of generic where I can't properly hate on anything. So, yeah, I'm not allowed to get angry. Bummer. When the only decent tracks on a metal album are the ballads, you have completely and utterly failed as a metal album. This isn't completely metal, but it's still badass as hell. the riffage, the songwriting, the album art, the frickin' track titles, the album title is You named your album Cultosaurus Erectus? What the the title is that? I guess before Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson wanted to be part of a band with a half executioner and half sex gimp on the album cover. Like, the album's fine, but what the hell is this image? Alright, picture this. We make a female Motorhead without any of the grit or speed that makes people love Motorhead. Yeah, I know, stupid ass idea, isn't it? Alright, take your favorite 70s metal band and slather them in some Louisiana-fied American Southern sound, and you got yourself Tomcattin' by Blackfoot, which is probably the most goddamn American South sound in heavy metal south of the American South. I have a message for all you dads out there. AC/DC is not metal! Yet, I'm still including it because it was extremely influential on the future of metal. Inspirational, as in the instrumentals, and not their horny-ass lyrics constantly spouted by the band. This, ladies and gentlemen, is false advertising at its finest, because my rod is not rock hard. It is quite the opposite, because this kinda sucks ass. The theatrical theater kid antics of this album are off the charts. Still a great album, but I'm just saying, a few more pointless 3-minute intros would have really helped bump this up to a 10. That was sarcasm for all you blockheaded morons in the audience. Somehow, even as the self-proclaimed least active person, Michael Schenkenker, or however you pronounce it, makes me want to spend the rest of my life in a Rocky training montage. This is pinnacle training montage music. I'm gonna go work out now. This, my friends, is an example of great musicians being bad songwriters, because these instrumentals are badass as hell, and these songs are boring as hell, causing this to be pinnacle mid. Molly Hatchet write hard rock banger after hard metal heavy ass banger in the first half. Suddenly, when the second half hits, they forget how to write music and the second half just sucks shit. Better luck next time in beating those odds. I'm sure somewhere under the absolute dog-ass vocals, there's a decent album. I just do not have the patience to find it. In an alternate reality, Ozzy Osbourne worked his ass off to get back at Black Sabbath for kicking him out, and in the process, created one of the greatest metal albums of 1980. Reality is slightly different in the fact that Ozzy Osbourne got very lucky finding a meticulous, fabulous guitarist named Randy Rhoads to carry him to victory. Lightning to the Nations is the most innovative metal album of 1980. And the evidence in that is simply found with the fact that Metallica has covered about half this album. Yeah. The Metallica. The yeah! Damn! It's rare to find a metal album that makes me want to dance. And that's more so traditional Irish jig dance and less so TikTok renegade. Japan, once again, proves their superiority. They take Western metal, and they do Western metal better than most Western metal bands, to such an extent that I cannot tell this is Japanese when I'm listening to it. This just sounds like a better Kiss. Every now and then, when the production stops being complete and utter piss, this album truly reveals how lackluster and boring and repetitive it is. I get why Witchfind have stage fright on this album, because I wouldn't want to go on stage either if this is what I was playing, because I would know it sucks ass. Well, on the surface, sounding like a clinical smoker's attempt at karaoke's night, Ace of Spades is somehow turning this smoker's lung into a meticulously beautiful metal sound that makes one just feel like they have a badass busting inside of themselves. Edgy 80s British bikers rejoice. Strong arm of the law is wheels of steel on pure cocaina, which is the only drug that could possibly create these monstrous, energetic, British-ass riffs Ah, and to put a beautiful pink bunching bow on the year, Angel Witch comes in and they just lay down an immaculate shred fest of an album, which is symbolic of things to come next year in 1981. And that, my friends, is every single 1980 metal album on Spotify. Very specific criteria, I know. If I missed any, be sure to let me know in the comment section. I'll gladly cover them in the next video. Anyhow, this was by far my favorite video to make, and definitely the one I'm most proud of so far, despite it not being an hour long. So, if you liked it, just let me know, either by liking the video, subscribing, hell, leave a comment telling me how much of a twink I am. I'll take it all, man. And that sounds pretty gay in retrospect. Like, I meant take whatever positive feedback or negative feedback you have. Just moving on. All I'm trying to say is I want to continue this as a series where I cover every year, and I know it's only going to get more difficult with more and more albums each year, but it's really fun. So if you enjoy it, I enjoy making it, and I'll gladly continue the series with 1981. Just let a brother know. And until that happens, I guess this is goodbye, my little Gumpkins. Thank you so much for watching, and be free. Kisses!